Pretty stuff. Well, hello and welcome again to River Valley Farm. We got the truck fixed. I got the welder. We got the tractor. And we have the piece that needs to be welded into said tractor. Specifically this one right here. So we're on track anyway, right? But first, looks like we need a little bit of oil anyway. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And then it still smells like gas, but we might as well put a little bit of that in there too. And then let's see, will it even crank? Ignition on. That would appear to be a no. Okay then. Okay, so let's go that. Well, it cranks now. The choke's all the way up on the carburetor on this old thing. Also a good sign. Okay, so next on the list we have to get this thing lined up. Hopefully we'll just be able to tap it around and get it to kind of line back up right where it needs to be. But you can see those two things are not in line at all. So we have to you can see how far off that is, hopefully. So we have to get that worked around to where it lines up right. And then we can go on about putting the belt, the radiator, fan, all this good stuff back on it. All right, so we are gonna go with that. It's pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some electrical tape and wrap around here to protect these threads. I think that's gonna be about the best option I got. I didn't really think about that part until it was, oh well, we're doing it now. So anyway, that is, do I have any electrical tape? I'm sure I do somewhere. I'm sure I do somewhere. Okay, so we're getting warmed up and ready to go here. I've got it taped up. We're in there in a good spot, looks like. Hopeful the ground is going to work out where I've got it clipped there. If it doesn't, that could get interesting. I have a 7018 on the Stinger right now, so I'm probably going to try that first. We're just going to do, I don't know really what we're going to do, but a couple of little tacks, more or less, just to see what happens. Okay. I'm going to think that that's going to have to be good on that piece. Now, let's roll it around. Up. Okay. We're cracking on that one too. That's not good. But anyway, we got a little crack right there also, so we're going to throw a tack on that too while we're here. And then we need to file a little bit because that's where my ground was. There's a burr right there. We're gonna have to file that off. And then we might also have to file on the inside over here just a little bit, just to make sure, good and sure, we don't have a rough spot. But anyway, As long as it'll unscrew once I'm done tacking on it, it should be fine. Alright, so it's not the most beautiful job in the world, but it'll do to run a belt on. You know, we've got tack, and then put another one there because that was also cracking out after all the beating that I had to do on it to get it to free up. But now, look at it go. That's adjusted, that's all the way in and all the way out. And I put anti-seize on it to prevent from having to have all this beating done the next time, hopefully. Not making any promises, but hopefully. So now we can go forth with putting the belt on. Put the belt back on, that one up there on the gas tank, and then adjust it up. And then we can stack all the rest of this crap back on here, fill it up with water and let it run. One other thing I need to do before I take this welder back where it belongs. I forgot about this fender, or these fender bolts I should say, not this fender bolts, but these fender bolts. They are broke off, and one of them recently and the other three not, and well, I can only imagine that they will be a pain to get out. So what we'd end up doing is just welding a nut to 3 of them anyway, and then spinning them out. And I have been soaking them with this stuff too when I think about it. So maybe, just maybe, we'll get that done too. Okay, so I got the belt slid on. Now it's on there. I'm still not real sure whatever made them think that this was like the be-all end-all way to put a belt on, put a V-belt on something. But anyway, we also must remember that, well, when this fan hub was designed, the thing that came before this was a pinned together a pinned together flat belt like you would have on a belt pulley drive for a thrashing machine or saw or something like that. So whoever invented this is smarter than I am, for far and away sure, but they might have been just a little bit overcomplicated. Let me get this thing adjusted, if I can anyway. But it does work extraordinarily well. I mean, really it does. We've got a long ways to go until we're tight here. And I don't know. But anyway, I don't really want to beat on the thing if I don't have to. But we might have to. Of course, you could turn this one too and turn the other one and kind of wiggle it. Kind of wiggle it and jiggle it and get it in the right spot, and then plus that, and then there's always the fact that you can rotate the engine a little bit too to get it to walk up in the pulley. So again, and that's probably as tight as it was. Not saying that's right, but that's probably as tight as it was. I would really like for it to get around to, because that's where our set bolt goes in, I would really like for it to get over here to this notch, but I'd rather not have to back it off than have to beat the crap out of it. So let me see what happens here. Okay, so we were successful. Now we need that bolt, which should be right there. Clean that dude off, anti-seize the crap out of it, put it back in there also, and that should lock that in place just fine. I like the tension on that belt the way it is. I think By modern standards, it's kind of a little loose, but I like it like that. We're gonna go with that for right now. Okay, so for good measure, I've got that all locked down and everything. For good measure, I'm gonna start it up and just make sure that that piece isn't gonna come flying out of there for some reason. What'd I do with my hat? Anyway. Oh, well, you've seen my bald head before. I guess you can see it again, right? Oh, yeah. Keys on the other side hanging up on the wall so a little turd don't drive off with it while it's sitting here in pieces, right? Makes sense to you, it does to me. Then again, I know my little turd pretty well, so here we go. Let's see. Clear the junk off first. And there's that. Well, we're getting closer anyway. It spit once. Guess I need to get around here where I can choke it a little bit. It has been a while. Well, it didn't fly off, and I forgot I don't have the oil pressure gauge hooked up. Though I do have a new gauge, so at least we got that going for us, right? So yeah, we're gonna crank that around and inspect it just to see what's going on here. Alright, so I'm gonna say we got it. Nothing flew out. I don't see any signs of any cracking or anything like that. So we're gonna go with it's okay for right now. Good enough to put back together and see what happens anyway. Okay, fan's back on. That makes the engine much easier to turn when you miss the Bendix, but anyway, we're gonna get a new Bendix too one of these days. So yeah. Next up, radiator stuff. So that means we get to try out our other new hoses. This one goes there, and then the other ones, and so on and so forth. But there should be, yeah, 1, 2, 3 more hoses. This is the top, and these two go for this thing. Okay, so we're starting to look like an assembled tractor again. Maybe not 100%, but we're definitely better off than what we were. I need to come up with a wire to run back to the battery for that, but anyway, I think that's one thing I don't have right now, but there we go. So next up, since we have such a rusty, crusty cooling system, dishwasher liquid. Okay, I don't care what brand you use or anything else. I'd call it Cascade, but anyway, squirt a liberal amount of that in there. Add water. Go ahead and just fill it all the way up with plain old water and dish soap. And then run it until it gets up to temperature and drain it out. So anyway, purring away, full of water. I don't know if this is advisable or not at this point in time because it's probably a little bit over full, but anyway, you can see the loveliness that is the cooling system on this machine. I'm not proposing we're going to get it all, but I'm going to say we're going to get some of it. Let's say that. And this thing will come in handy. And since everything's not all bolted back together, the fan shroud occasionally tings a little bit. It's okay. All right here. 114. Huh. That's odd. Looks like the thermostat's stuck open. But that's okay, because that's better than stuck closed. Might be as good as it gets with no load on it. That's about it. I guess that's about all for this one, guys. Up next, we've got flushing the cooling system ever how many times it takes, and wiring, and don't let me forget about them bolts over there either. I got to do that. We got to do that so I can get the fender back on it. You know, for the wiring, all I'm really concerned about right now is we just need to do away with this, the voltage regulator, because we don't need it anymore. Run a wire from the alternator to the battery or over to the starter by chance, perhaps to the starter, and then from the starter to the key, and then the key to the coil, and then that's all the wires we need. So, well, yeah, and then from the key to the starter also. But anyway, that's really all the wires we need on this. Or all the wires we'll have to mess with anyway. So, yeah. I suppose that's it. Thanks for watching. And I'll be back tomorrow with more stuff to do on this. Dirty stuff.